Correct. And that's not optimal. You would prefer to get a little bit more out of it, but you take what you can get. Endless Arrow going to be the play here. That's going to get go again from Voltaire, forcing lethal. So again, Alexander, do you want to block, or do you say time to go?
4, again, an awkward number, and Kano has honestly just been on the back foot this entire match. Kano hasn't necessarily presented those explosive turns. Usually Kano's just like, no problem, like brush it off, water off a duck's back. I want to be the one dealing the damage. I can output so much more damage than you can, but when Lexi comes to play and it's Yuki at the helm, there's going to be disruption, there's going to be creativity, there's going to be so many uncomfortable situations, and in this case, Endless Arrow is just another one of those situations of, do I really want this to, like, you can only block 3 at the very least. You gotta respect this. There's nothing else that you can really do. The Kano player has been on the back foot the whole game.
Flake, that means it's go time. And this is a great way to start off go time. Blazing Ether going to go ahead and be the banish from Kano. Combine that with the right tools so things can get out of hand real quickly here. I know 29 sounds like a lot, Flake, but as soon as I saw that Blazing Ether, I started thinking maybe that's not as safe as you might think it is.
Yeah. To steal a Seinfeld quote here, whenever it's go time, you think you're better than me? You think you're Mandelbaum. And, I mean, you're right. It is go time. When lethal is presented, that's when that rabid Wolverine starts to claw back, and you've got to get creative. So it's time to start peeling cards off the top and crossing your fingers.
Yeah, we're going to get to banishing, and it looks like Snapback Red was the other banish. Gaze the Ages also another banish. This is a really good setup, Flake, because that Gaze the Ages can come back to turn after something is deployed.
And all those ops that occurred, you know, there were cards drawn and such, but this has kind of been part of that setup, right? Is in terms of making sure that the cards you're ripping off the top are very helpful.
Yeah, and Flake, this is wild. So Blazing Aether has been cast, but in response to all this, we're going to do a bunch of stuff, including Tome of Aetherwind, which could now restack should they want to, and just really bust this game wide open.
So again, we've seen this countless times this weekend, that whole passenger mentality of the player playing against the Kano, presenting lethal, it's just now, do I have it or do I not? It's kind of like, you know, you're just waiting for the answer. And in this case, that Endless Arrow is suspended in this like stasis animation, waiting to either connect or fizzle and not even matter.
Yeah, also in stasis is this Blazing Aether. How much damage is it going to pop off for when it finally does resolve? And you see what Alexander is debating now. Is it time to go ahead and crack this Potion of Deja Vu? Looks like the answer is yes, and with 2 draws potentially available, that's just going to be exactly the hand that Alexander wants. Is it lethal, though? That's always the question. Is it lethal? Is lethal present in this pitch stack? There you see, Ether Wildfire has been pitched. That's always the key piece, Flake. And if you line this up perfectly, I believe the damage is there. You just have to figure out exactly how to do it, how to play through Arcane Barrier, and then we'll see exactly what's going to happen as we're certainly in our final turn of this game between Yuki Lee Bender and Alexander Vor.
You got to figure when you're playing against a Kano player like this, and even if you do lose, you have to give credit to the fact that a lot of these wins seemingly come out of nowhere to a degree. They just materialize out of thin air where you are so confident that there is absolutely no, I have 30 health, you've got 2, I'm presenting lethal. You know, how many more rabbits out of a hat are you gonna pull out? You know, like that's where it comes to.
And look at this, like Gaze the Ages off the top, as we knew. That's going to go ahead and put 2 cards on the bottom, and it's going to return to hand, which is trouble for Yuki Lee Bender.
Lots of cards sliding around the table, but I mean, you have to be sure of and aware of what's going on. Not that anybody's out here to try to pull a fast one, but at the same time, you want to be aware of what is being presented and how it's being presented, because perhaps you do have a way through to sneak something in. There's the Eye of Ophidia. Now, this is, again, a beautiful Fabled card, something that a lot of people kind of hunt for, but the fact is that this is blue pitch that allows you to have the extra benefit of opt, and we've seen how crucial that is.
How about another tome? How about that, Flake? 2 more cards off the top with that Blazing Aether just sitting there, ready to go. This turn is about to get out of control.
I am speechless. I am without speech. I have no speech.
Look, Alexander hasn't accomplished a whole lot quite yet, but it's coming. There's something there where Alexander is going to be able to leverage this Blazing Ether, leverage all of this card draw, leverage that Ether Wildfire that we know is present, and potentially present some lethal.
So how much of this, I mean, at a certain point, this just looks like a lot of spinning your tires. Eventually, Alex is going to have to find some traction here and take off, because it's just been a lot of revving of the engine, a lot of just, it's a lot of smoke and mirrors without any actual substance. But this is all just prep work. And like you mentioned, starting off with that Kano specialization is the way that you want to sort of kick off the turn. But we've seen a lot of creative accounting. We've seen a lot of card shuffling, a lot of opting, a lot of playing, but we haven't seen any damage being presented. So at what point is there actual substance to this turn? At what point is all the noise going to turn into an actual dance party?
It's a good question, Flake, and obviously it's got to happen at some point. Not there yet, though.
No, but I mean, again, look, if you just have a look at like Yuki's eyes, it's just, all right, like, I'm going to take a look at my hand. If these cards change, nothing's happened, you know? It's cold out here. It's just, if you're not moving your engines a little bit, you know, you could get a little bit nervous. You can kind of, she's just like nodding along. Yeah, keep going. Like, until something's coming to me and I have to make a decision, how much of this is just, you know, shuffling your deck with extra steps?
Some degree of it is, but here's my answer to that, Flake. It is until it isn't.
Yeah.
And as soon as you're ready to go as this Kano player, we've just seen, I mean, look, there's another Ether Wildfire. There's just such incredible tools available to Alexander here. You have to figure out how to put them all together. And this is one of those mind-melting Kano turns. Look, I'm a decent Kano player. I know my way around Kano. I've won my share of matches. I am not equipped to handle this turn. This is the reason why, if it was the Pro Tour, I would not be brave enough to register Kano, because something like this feels almost impossible to navigate. And you can almost see the stress mounting for Alexander, just trying to figure out exactly how he navigates through this turn and pushes that damage, which has to happen now.
It comes down to a situation where, like, Alex is trying to light a fuse.
Yeah.
And that fuse has been burning. How long is that rope until the explosion occurs?
Well, here's step one, Flake, and it's Ether Wildfire, looking to push 4 damage. And I think we're going to see Yuki do something here. Yes, going to use a resource, Bullseye Bracers, preventing
and
one of that arcane damage.
So that's resolving. Now it's back to step 1, and that's back on the stack. That needs to get some attention, right?
Yeah, time for Storm Striders to be popped. Now it's time for another Ether Wildfire. And that means that when that next Ether Wildfire pops off, and when that Blazing Ether pops off, the damage numbers, I'm not trying to do the math, Flake. I'm not a math guy. We know you're not a math guy.
No.
It's a lot. There's a lot of damage being offered right now. And we have to figure out exactly how much is going to be pushed. I mean, that Blazing Ether potentially getting a bonus, 11 damage added onto it, to say nothing of the damage already done?
No, this is, I mean, one of those, I wouldn't call it necessarily a Hail Mary. You know, there's a lot of calculation involved. There's a lot of setup involved. And Alexander Vor at 10-1 is no slouch when it comes to Kano. There is a judge call going on here, so there is a fairly extensive discussion being happening here. We're trying to get word on exactly what that's about, and when we can let you know, we'll certainly pass along that information. But something was brewing there for sure.
No, and they're going to try and sort that out. I'm going to let you know, folks, it's going to be a little while. Exactly what's happening, it sounds like there is a discrepancy in how many resources are available for, I believe, the Kano player. And what this has led to is a massive reconstruction of this turn as we try and figure out exactly where things are at.
All right, so that's getting resolved, and like you mentioned, and resources in that case where a lot of those blues are absolutely necessary. If there's one floating or one not there, that might be that could be the difference between pitching 1 card or pitching 2, which could then change the entire dynamic of the game. So there's getting that sorted out. They're just sort of going through the books, as it were.
What a tease for our viewers. I apologize. I know you see those 2 Ether Wildfires sitting there ready to combine with Blazing Ether, and you want resolution. Well, guess what? I got good news. We're ready to go ahead and figure out exactly who's going to win this match between Yuki Liebender and Alexander Vor, with That's 7 arcane damage, Ether Wildfire sitting out there. And it looks like Snapback also going to go ahead and get into the party here.
Well, I mean, the life total you're going to see is going to start to absolutely evaporate.
Yeah, and that Snapback is for 10. And look, that Blazing Aether's still sitting there, Flake. If this gets through, how does Yuki survive this? I just don't think she can. I think Alexander has done it here.
This is impressive, absolutely impressive. A 10-1 record is exactly because of plays like this, patience like this, setting up your turns like this. This is godly. And in the corner of my eye, I see DM Armada, who looks like he just saw someone eat their own head. He is in another dimension of just amazement. This is Kano at its most dangerous.
Flake, 19 has flown onto that Blazing Ether. 19. Nope.
Oh!
How about a few more dice there? It looks like we were looking at a 28 damage Blazing
Ether.
Ether.
Oh my gosh!
And Alexander Voras pulled it out at the last possible second. All right.
I look, we're all right, man. Just shake it off. It's all good. Frankly, I mean, Kano ain't the magician you bring to the birthday party, all right?